Hello, my loves. Welcome to your Libra season energy update. If you are alive and breathing regularly and all things feel normal, count yourself lucky because this is the wildest energy right now. It feels like the ride from Disneyland, Thunder Mountain Railroad. Hang under your hats, folks. This here is the wildest ride in the wilderness. This is so intense. So I'm recording this on September 19, 2 days before the new moon solar eclipse in Virgo. And Libra season begins the next day, September 22nd. So we are still, as I'm recording this, inside of eclipse season. And then at least one, if not two moon cycles after that are stabilizing all of that eclipse energy. And remember, Virgo season with all of those eclipse, Pisces, Virgo, on the axis of healing and service was all about a rhythm reset. It was like a defibrillator for the heartbeat of the earth and Mother Earth bringing us into a new order, into a new rhythm. And this next two moon cycles after that, inside of Libra season, full moon in Aries and new moon in Libra, is about action and stability. We have to stabilize the energy that all of the eclipse season brought up, all of the change. I mean, this is like eclipse season in general is endings and beginnings. You know, it's death, it's rebirth, it's weddings, it's funerals, engagements, all of the changes, like the threshold things, moving. I'm inside of two moves right now as we're moving through eclipse season. And my move will stabilize as we get, finally settled into our new place right inside of this stability Libra energy. I mean, it's just, you can't make this shit up. Like, we didn't even plan the move to be at this time and it just happened. So anyways, it's a lot right now. So be so incredibly gentle with yourself. Take a lot of time out to breathe. Breathwork practices, stabilizing practices. This is not a time to snooze on your rituals, on your spiritual practices, your chanting, your meditation, your walking, your being in nature, all of those kinds of things. I don't know about you, but for me, it feels like there just isn't enough time in the day to fit it in. And that is the exact moment when we have to pause and make the time, because otherwise we're going to lose our shit. Okay? I mean, we might be losing our shit anyways. It's just an absolute lot. So let me go through each one of the individual things, all the transits, and know that, if you haven't joined a moon ceremony before, I do those at the new and full moon. The one for this new moon Virgo solar eclipse, absolutely unreal. And the one before that, the full moon Pisces lunar eclipse, was beyond also. Those all live in the shop on my website, and you can download those at any time. I typically don't take them off. After about a year or something, like, I'll start pulling them off the website, but typically, they stay there for a while. So let's get into it. So the sun moves into Libra September 22nd. And Libra is the great stabilizer, the great balancer. Think of the Justice card in the tarot, or the scales, right? Libra wants balance, harmony, love, beauty, relationship, connection with the other. It's the first sign in the zodiac from Aries to Pisces that goes from me to we. So Libra on to Pisces is all about we, is all about the other, the connection with the other, and Aries to Virgo is all about the self. So inside of Libra season, as we move in, we're going to have a full moon in Aries. So that's the me, that's the beginning of the zodiac, but it's also the me, and then new moon is Libra, the we. And that is the axis of interdependence. So even though the North Node and South Node in the sky currently are still in Virgo Pisces, and will be until, the summer, my throat, will be until the summer of 2026. The North and South Node move on a year and a half cycle. So they'll move into Leo Aquarius at that time. So even though that's going on, this new and full moon that we're going to go through during the Libra season sits on the axis of interdependence, but it's also balancing that me and we. You know, do we all have what we need? It's the stabilizing the me inside of the we. And if you've taken any of my astrology classes on Insight Timer, or, you know, you've heard me on YouTube here for a while talking about all of this, you might have heard me say, but the Aries Libra axis of interdependence, the question of interdependence that sits inside of that axis is, can I be myself and not lose relationship? Can I be in relationship and not lose myself? That is the question that is up during Libra season anyway. But let me get into the individual details and all of the transits and everything that are happening, and then you will have a little bit better of an idea. So the sun moves into Libra September 22nd. On the very same day, Mars moves into Scorpio. So Mars is our drive. It is our direction. It is the divine masculine. In Scorpio, Scorpio is all about the underworld. It's about transformation. It's sex, death, and taxes, life, death, rebirth. It is going down into the depths of self. So when Mars is in Scorpio, that means the direction that we are moving, what we are driven by as a collective, has to do with that underworld. It has to do with the deep depths of the self. It is the deep end. And I just said this in some other, I think it was my October calendar video. I was talking about how I don't personally know a single person right now that is not in the deep end of their life. Like some deep, massive transformation that's going on emotional, physical, mental, spiritual level. And maybe it's happening on all of those levels at one time. It's just beyond right now. And in the sky, I talk about this more in the moon ceremonies, but we have had multiple kite after kite after kite, and yod after yod after yod. Kites are directional moments, and yods are even more potent in some ways. They're called the finger of God or the finger of fate, and they direct where we're going. This new moon solar eclipse in Virgo, there are 4 yods on that day happening, and they point in all different directions. So if you don't feel like you know where in the F you're going, there's a reason for that, because we're being pulled in so many directions that it's bringing us into our center. It's smoothing out the edges where we're angular and we don't see kind of the forest for the trees, or we don't see where all is the whole. I don't know how to describe that, but it's like all the individual kind of seemingly opposing ideas, or let's put it in a different way, the polarization of society that we see, all of these yods pointing in different directions, it's kind of dizzying and spinning us back into our center so that we realize that the answers live in the middle. They don't live on the extreme outside edges that society would have us believe. There are so many examples of that in society right now, of people getting completely polarized and leaning to one side or the other. My side, your side. Are you on this side? Are you on that side? And then all the virtue signaling that goes around with that. And if somebody says one word, it's like, oh my gosh, you're part of that group. I can't be friends with you, da 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 da. All of that is telling us that none of that shit is true. Because the answer lives in the middle, and that's what the astrology says too. So all of these yods and all of these kites that are pointing in multiple directions are dizzying us to spin us out of that unconscious psychosis, honestly, of believing that there is a good, bad, right, wrong, one side or the other. So I didn't mean to go into all of that, but that's what the astrology wants us to know. All right. On October 6th, Mercury also moves into Scorpio. So Mercury is our language. It's our communication. It's how we share ideas back and forth. So with that teaming up and going into Scorpio as well, it's like, okay, well, now we have our drive and our direction, and then we also have our voice and our language. So, Mercury in Scorpio can be cutting, but it also is an excellent BS meter. It doesn't mince words. It says what it needs, and it also sees through all the BS. So we can look forward to that. On the same day, October 6th, that is when we have that full moon in Aries. So this is the first moon cycle that comes out of eclipse season. And in fiery Aries, it is here to get shit done. It is here to burn through illusions that maybe came up during the eclipse season. Because eclipse season is so disorienting. It's like the lights go all the way off. We cannot see our direction. We are white knuckling it. We don't know what we're doing. But in the dark, it also encourages us to get into our body and get into our intuition so that we're feeling through the space and we learn to trust ourselves better because of that. And then the lights go all the way on, and then we see all the rats in the corner and we see everything we have not been paying attention to. And that's when it's like, especially in the Virgo Pisces axis. I mean, Virgo in and of itself is cleanup on aisle 6, as I call it. And so we're already in that just in Virgo in general. But then when you're talking about eclipse season, it's a massive reboot. It's like, okay, now I can see everything that was in my unconscious that I wasn't aware of. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I was holding on to that belief or that hatred or that whatever it is. And it's time to let it go if I want to live in balance and harmony as we move into Libra season. That helps us stabilize that. So that first moon cycle outside of eclipse season, the full moon in Aries, helps to kind of come in with that fire and burn through the clutter, burn through the illusions that we weren't paying attention to before eclipse season. So it starts to bring in the action side of the action and stability inside of Libra season. The very next thing that happens is October 13, Venus goes into Libra. So now Venus, the divine mother, it's like she's just like this warm hug that comes in and says everything is going to be okay, but our direction needs to be inside of Libra. Sorry, I don't know what's going on with my throat. It's hard to get the words out these days. So it's hard to even like get your thoughts together at this point. It's so ridiculous. So Venus is this mother that comes in and says, hello, we have to be inside of our harmony. We have to think about the other. We can't just be so self-focused and it's only me and we're hoarding all of our material assets and, keeping ourselves in a bunker of self and being stubborn and, immovable and resistant to change and resistant to considering the other. And Venus says, no, we need to balance everything. We need to stabilize the scales so that everyone gets their needs met. On that very same day, October 13, Pluto finally moves direct. So at the current moment recording this, we have 4 planets in retrograde: Saturn, Neptune, Uranus, and Pluto. So Pluto finally goes back direct. And Pluto, if you've not heard me say this, I will be saying it forever because Pluto is in Aquarius for the next 20 years. But Pluto went into Aquarius November of 2024 and has been retrograde. So it comes into Aquarius. It's just starting to feel into that energy. And Aquarius is the great humanitarian. It's the higher octave of Libra. So it's not just considering other, it's considering all. So it brings in that Trinity energy of it. If it's good for me, it's good for you, it's good for the planet. If it's not good for me, it won't be good for you, it won't be good for the planet. So Pluto moving direct now is going to start to restabilize in that Aquarian energy and get the collective on board with what is happening with that Aquarian energy. So it's like we have to move into the energy, we feel into it a little bit, and then it goes retrograde. So we're reviewing all of that energy, and then it moves direct again and stabilizes. And Pluto is retrograde about 6 months out of every year. So this goes back and forth like this often, 6 months direct, 6 months retrograde. And it's helping us stabilize because, Pluto is helping us anchor in whole collective, how the collective is moving. And so it's massive energy, even though it's a tiny planet. But so that's happening. Then we have a new moon in Libra bringing in that stabilizing energy and the new cycle on October 21st. Then, that's going to be bringing in new moon is always new energy, new cycle. In Libra is going, hey, we need to focus on balance and harmony. Is it actually good for everybody? How are we communicating? So this is bringing up relationship, beauty. Libra is ruled by Venus, and Venus will be in Libra at the time of that new moon. So it's going to be really beautiful that Venus is sitting there, the mother, hugging and holding this new moon ceremony when we get there, that they'll be there in the same sign. And then the next day, Neptune moves into Pisces and the sun will move into Scorpio. So if you have not heard me talk about this, Neptune and Saturn are retrograding together back and forth. They have been moving back and forth. They went into Aries, the beginning of the cycle, and then they're retrograding together back into Pisces. So Saturn already went into Pisces September 1st, I believe. And then Neptune will finally meet up with Saturn in Pisces October 22nd. So Saturn and Neptune moving back and forth over the threshold of Aries Pisces. Saturn is structure, Neptune is the dream. And it's also disillusion and dissolving. So we are dissolving the old structures of the world. The old world order is dying. That's why everything is so crazy in the world right now, because all the things, all the systems that we have grown accustomed to just relying upon and not questioning and just taking at face value and telling ourselves, well, that's just the way it is. That isn't just the way it is. That's the way it was set up. That's the way humans set it up at one point, and our consciousness is evolving, and our consciousness is desiring to evolve out of that old way and re-pattern the world going forward that actually includes not even just all the people of the planet, but when we include all the people of the planet, that everyone is valued, necessary, needed, that diversity is at the center of balance and harmony. We need the diversity. We need all of the different ideas and people at the table giving their unique gifts. That's how the stability comes in. It's not this other version that we have of like only certain people get things and other people don't. That harms everyone. So when we include all the people and we realize that everyone is valued and needed, the micro version of that macro version is that all parts of ourselves individually get to be included. The good, the bad, the ugly. All of the stuff that exists inside of us, the wounds, the heartache, the heartbreak, the things that we feel like are ugly about us or aren't ready for prime time, all the wounded inner parts of ourselves, the inner children that have been ignored and unattended, they are valuable. They are necessary. I go into this in my 40-day Learn to Chant course on Insight Timer. It's such a valuable, important practice right now because it brings us into our awareness of all those inner parts that we have been suffocating down and ignoring. When we suffocate those parts and we push them down and we ignore them, we cut ourselves off from the data that those parts have. If we don't allow ourselves to have the emotion that comes up with all of those wounded inner parts, we can't get the data. And if we can't get the data, we can't make different choices that include the whole of who we are. And society has told us, like, you know, shut up and get over your stuff and just be okay with all of the abuse that you've endured and whatever. None of that is getting us anywhere. We have to go into our own pain and into our own wounding and allow it to bubble up and allow the tears to come, allow the grief to come so that we can get the information. So it's a beautiful thing what we got going on here. Okay, so let me just go over the retrogrades really quick. So Saturn is retrograde. It will go direct November 27, just so you can get, I'll talk about these as we move into the other sun seasons throughout the rest of the year. Neptune is going to be retrograde until December 10. Uranus won't go direct until February 3rd of 2026. And then at the end of this year here, we're going to have another Mercury retrograde, which is like a disintegration to reintegration period. We have them 3 times a year. They last for 3 weeks at a time. There's a 2-week setup phase and a 2-week integration phase. So it's a 7-week period in total. That is going to happen November 9 to November 29. And that is inside of Sagittarius and Scorpio. So Sagittarius is that traveler and Scorpio is that underworld depths. So we are going to be traveling into the underworld depths of ourselves. Jupiter is going to retrograde November 11 to March 10th of 2026. So a lot coming still through the end of the year. But if you haven't heard me say this, and I would be interested even to go back and listen to my 2025 video at this point, because I don't even remember what I said, to see how that all lays out. But 2025 is a 9-year, it's a completion year, it's an endings year. This is a death year. Everything being broken down. 2026 is a 1-year. That's a beginning year, a new beginnings. It's the rebirth. It's building everything back up. So I'm sure you're feeling it. And then, so a couple other dates. So obviously there will be moon ceremonies. I do those twice a month, and they go in the shop on my website a couple days prior to the moon cycle. So the full moon again in Aries is on October 6th, so there'll be a moon ceremony for that. And then the new moon in Libra, October 21, there will be a moon ceremony for that. I also teach intuitive collage twice a month that go with the new and full moon. So the collage for, it's for the solar eclipse, the Virgo, is September 26th. And then we'll have a collage for the full moon in Aries on October 10. And then we'll have a collage for the new moon in Libra, October 24. I try to do intuitive collage class on Friday. They're always at 3 o'clock Pacific time on the Friday after the new or full moon. So that's kind of like the rhythm that those happen on. And if you're interested in joining those regularly, there is a membership that includes all 4 of those called the Wild Moon Community. You can find that on the homepage of my website and sign up for that. It's a discount to do so. And then you get inside of a private members group on my website where we share all the things that are going on. And we do intuitive collage class live on Zoom. And it's a beautiful, beautiful process. If you have not done it before, it is a process of diving into, it's like a communication with spirit and yourself. And you are building what's kind of like an oracle card in your collage in front of you that's an answer to your question. So it's this beautiful way of leaning into yourself, tuning into what's happening in your body, your energy, your emotions, your spirit, your heart, all of the things. And then the collage that gets built in front of you is an answer to your questions. And then we share it inside of the group. And it's just uncanny because there's always overlap in themes between people's collages, in image, in color, in word, in feeling, in the messages that come through during the collage. And we have a playlist every time as well. And the playlist always, the song the lyrics and everything come through and answer more questions. So it's just a beautiful thing. I invite you to that practice at any time. And other than that, you can find me on YouTube here, obviously, for my journal videos. I'm doing Traveler's Notebook calendar videos every month. I'm sticking on the Gregorian calendar, September, October, November, for those, and then using these videos to talk about the sun season and going deeper into the astrology and what all of those dates mean that I'm sharing on the calendar. So I invite you to do the Traveler's Notebook calendaring with me as well, and all of the supplies for that. If you're not a Traveler's Notebook person yet and you want to grab those, all of those journaling supplies that I use on a regular basis are on my website under the resources tab, and then underneath the resources tab you can click on favorites, and I've got all kinds of essential oil supplies, journal supplies, spiritual practice supplies, all kinds of things there. So I invite you to that, and otherwise I'll see you on Insight Timer for all the classes. I have a new class publishing soon on the healing power of essential oils. I've just published that. I'm just waiting for that to populate. And then my very next class I'm going to be teaching is redefining ADHD, because I have a wildly different definition of it, and I want to share that with you. So those are some things that are upcoming, and I look forward to seeing you whenever I do, wherever I do. And happy Libra season, action and stability. It's time to get shit done, take action on the things that have been hanging out in your subconscious, and more than anything, taking action on all of the information that you garnered during eclipse season. And then the Libra new moon will come in to help us stabilize, and all of that Libra energy to help us stabilize and balance so that we don't lose our shit. All right, take care. Happy taking action and stabilizing your energy after all this wild eclipse season. All right, take care.